Russia is rewriting what it means to be a teenager in wartime. More than half of all 9th graders are now choosing vocational colleges over finishing school. For young men who go, their one military deferment goes with them. The education system is reshaped, and a generation is quietly funneled toward the front. The classroom is changing, so are the consequences. Russia is witnessing a significant overhaul in its education system, with growing numbers of teenagers choosing vocational colleges over completing the final 2 years of secondary school. According to Russia's Higher School of Economics 2022, the first year of Moscow's full-scale invasion of Ukraine marked the first time that more than half of all 9th grade students, 50.4%, opted for vocational colleges instead of continuing into 10th grade. The share has continued to rise ever since. The BBC's Russian service reports that Russian authorities are actively encouraging this trend. In Moscow, students applying to vocational colleges after 9th grade are now required to sit only 2 examinations on the OGE, the standardized test taken at the end of 9th grade instead of the usual 4. They only take Russian language and mathematics. Senior officials, including Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin, State Duma Speaker Vyacheslav Volodin, and the Labour Ministry, have all publicly highlighted the country's growing demand for blue-collar workers. Schools are also increasingly steering pupils towards vocational education, while for the first time in 2026, Russia's social media platform VKontakte reportedly carried more posts promoting colleges than universities. Students can still enter university after completing vocational college, but the BBC says that route has become more difficult. Since 2025, college graduates are allowed to bypass Russia's unified state exam only if they apply for a university course closely related to their vocational qualification. Unlike secondary schools, vocational colleges do not specifically prepare students for the entrance examination. For young men, the decision may carry another consequence. Russia allows only one educational deferment from compulsory military service after secondary school. Students who use that deferment while attending vocational college cannot use it again later, meaning graduates may still be drafted, and, according to the BBC, conscripts are often pressured into signing contracts with the Defence Ministry. Meanwhile, many schools are reducing places in the 10th and 11th grades. Under education reforms introduced in 2022, schools must create specialised classes focused on particular subjects. However, many schools reportedly lack the teachers and resources to offer multiple specialist tracks. As a result, some students are left without their preferred subjects and choose or are forced to leave after 9th grade.
We selected the students for the specialised classes, and then the parents started stomping their feet and saying, "We'll go to the prosecutor's office." And the school is forced to take the kids. We ended up with bloated classes. 2/3 of the kids aren't ready for the track, and the kids who want to learn are the ones who suffer. In the end, it's impossible to work, impossible to provide a decent level of education.
Although Russian law guarantees every child access to a full secondary education, families facing these obstacles are increasingly turning to homeschooling and private online schools. As Russia reshapes its education system, what is presented as a solution to labour shortages is also raising broader questions about equal access to higher education, educational choice, and the long-term consequences for a generation coming of age during wartime. Russia could be preparing for another large-scale military mobilization to sustain its war in Ukraine, according to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who has warned that the Kremlin may seek to recruit between 300,000 and 500,000 additional troops after Russia's legislative elections in September. Speaking in an interview with Sky News on July 27th, Zelensky said President Vladimir Putin has no intention of ending the war and is instead preparing to expand Russia's military manpower.
Putin is aiming to draft up to 500,000 troops to sustain his invasion. Putin is not ready to stop this war. The Kremlin leader intends to execute the mobilization not openly because Putin is afraid of his society, but our Western partners and Ukrainian forces can derail these efforts.
Zelensky warned that the mobilization could begin in early October unless Ukraine and its allies intensify pressure on Moscow.
This will become a big problem because he will count on mobilizing 300,000 to 500,000 people. He will do it at the beginning of October if we do not create problems for him with logistics, weapons, gasoline, diesel, and if our partners do not introduce total sanctions for his aggression.
A day earlier, Zelensky also warned of expanding military cooperation between Moscow and Pyongyang.
We also see Russia's cooperation with North Korea. Russia wants to bring in another 30,000 North Korean troops. Preparations have been underway in Russia's Voronezh region since June to receive them. In addition, North Korea is preparing to supply Russia with new launchers for ballistic missiles.
The warnings come as Ukraine continues its long-range drone campaign against targets deep inside Russia, including repeated strikes on Wildberries, Russia's largest e-commerce company, disrupting logistics and commercial infrastructure. Meanwhile, Putin has signaled that Russia will continue pursuing its military objectives despite mounting battlefield losses. Speaking during an awards ceremony, the Russian president responded to calls from a senior lawmaker for a more aggressive campaign.
But the question arises even bolder. And here, there are risks, the price of which is losses on the battlefield for us. Therefore, we will act carefully, but persistently and consistently, pursuing the goals set for the country, and we will achieve them.
Separately, Russian news agency RBC reported that Putin has signed legislation granting the Russian Ministry of Defense and the National Guard direct access to civil registry data. This move also gives military authorities broader access to personal records for military registration purposes, fueling speculation that Moscow is preparing administrative mechanisms for a possible future mobilization. The battlefield may no longer be Russia's only source of reinforcements. Ukraine now claims Moscow is preparing to bring in 30,000 more North Korean troops, a move that could dramatically deepen one of the world's most controversial military alliances. If confirmed, it would mark a major escalation in the war and raise fresh fears that the conflict is no longer confined to Europe, but is now embroiling Asia as well. According to the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Russia is preparing to receive an additional 30,000 North Korean troops to fight alongside Russian forces.
We also see Russia's cooperation with North Korea. Russia wants to bring in another 30,000 North Korean troops. Preparations have been underway in Russia's Voronezh region since June to receive them. In addition, North Korea is preparing to supply Russia with new launchers for ballistic missiles. This is a threat not only to Ukraine. Russia is helping North Korea learn how to wage war, improve its weapons, and gain real combat experience in using them. All of this poses a threat to every country in Asia that lies within range of North Korean missiles.
Citing the intel inputs received by his country, Zelensky claims preparations have been underway since June in Russia's Voronezh region to accommodate the new deployment. Zelensky vowed that Ukraine would respond to that threat. The latest claim comes after North Korea previously sent an estimated 14,000 soldiers to Russia's Kursk region under a mutual defense pact signed between Moscow and Pyongyang in 2024. Those troops were deployed to help Russian forces repel a major Ukrainian incursion into the border region. According to the Ukrainian president, Russia is helping North Korea learn how to wage modern warfare, improve its weapons systems, and gain valuable combat experience. He warned that this poses a threat not only to Ukraine, but also to every country in Asia that lies within range of North Korean missiles. If confirmed, the deployment would mark a significant escalation in defense cooperation between Moscow and Pyongyang. Over the course of the 4-year conflict, Russian President Vladimir Putin has increasingly relied on North Korea for artillery shells, missiles, and military support. Political scientist Oh Gyong-seob, a senior research fellow at the Korea Institute for National Unification, reacted to the claims saying,
"This is quite a plausible claim. It would be a win-win deal for both countries."
According to Oh Gyong-seob, North Korea provides Russia with a steady supply of low-cost frontline troops at a time when Moscow's pool of willing recruits has steadily declined after more than 4 years of war. In return, Pyongyang receives financial support as well as access to Russian military technology and operational experience. Current estimates suggest that North Korea already maintains around 14,000 frontline troops in support of Russia's war effort, alongside thousands of military engineers. While neither Moscow nor Pyongyang has confirmed the latest claims, the prospect of another 30,000 North Korean troops entering the conflict would represent a major expansion of their military partnership.